Hello, I'm Executive Chef Joseph Schultz and welcome to our kitchen. Today I'd like to share with you a recipe and procedure for making what I like to call Asian burnt ends. As you may or may not know, burnt ends are typically made from the brisket cut of meat, and more specifically from the point muscle. But you don't necessarily have to use a brisket to make burnt ends, do you? I don't think so. Why couldn't you use a chuck flap or short rib or pork belly? So in today's demonstration, I'm going to show you how to do an Asian influenced or Asian flavored pork belly that will be made into barbecued burnt ends. Join me now as I show you how easy this procedure is and how flavorful and amazing this dish is. Well, the first thing I like to do is I will take my pork belly and I will put them into a vessel large enough to hold it, depending on the volume, obviously. So what I will do is I like to pour some Ponzu over the pork and go ahead and rub it in a little bit. Make sure that we get this everywhere. So now that I have it well covered, let's go ahead and add our lemongrass and ginger. What I did was I kind of put them into a puree. Just makes it a little easier to spread. And we'll go ahead and flip and make sure you hit the flesh side as well, not just the skin side. So now that our pork belly has been marinating for about 15 minutes, we're gonna go ahead and make our curing mix. As you see here, I have Turbinado Sugar, I have Kosher Salt, and the pink is the curing salt. This is prog number 1, prog powder number 1, DQ number 1, curing salt number 1, whatever you may refer to it as. But one thing about it is it is the number 1, and that means it's a short-term cure, which you would use for things like ham, bacon, and such. Even sausage. Now, certain sausages. Now, if you're going to do something like a salami or a kielbasa that you're going to air dry, there you want prog powder number 2 or DQ2, and that's meant for long-term curing. So let's put them into a vessel, and I will now add my seasonings. I have granulated garlic, I have Togarashi, and then I also have a six pepper blend. Let's go ahead and mix this around evenly. And now, let's go ahead and begin seasoning our pork bellies. What we will do is sprinkle the salt cure mixture all over your entire piece of meat. Now the amount in my recipe is, I'm going to use every bit of it. There will not be any extra for this. So now we have that seasoned. We will take a Ziploc bag and go ahead and place your bellies into that. Now we'll lay them in there nice and flat. And then, if there's any extra of the seasoning, feel free to add it in there. The curing seasoning, that is. So now we are going to seal this up, press it out and get some excess air out of the way. Let's go ahead and label and date it. And we are going to put this into the refrigerator for 7 days, as we do with regular bacon. Every 12 hours, I like to flip it over just to help ensure a more even curing process. Well, now here we are after our 7 days. We want to remove it from the brine and go ahead and start rinsing it under cold water. So now what we will do is we're going to pat it dry with a paper towel, and we're going to set it on a sheet pan lined with a wire rack. And what that's going to do is we want it to dry overnight. And that is going to help develop a pellicle, which will enable the smoke, flavor, as well as color adhere to the protein much better. Well, here we are ready to do our smoking. I already have the smoker warmed up 200 Fahrenheit, which is a little warmer than I normally would smoke at, but because the outside temperature right now is 16 Fahrenheit or about -9 Celsius, so it's pretty cold. I want to ensure that the cabinet gets hot, stays hot for the smoke process and the cooking. However, it is a hell of a lot warmer than it was last week. Last week was -16 Fahrenheit, almost like -30 Celsius. So it was really cold. So let's go in, hang our bellies, and we're just gonna go ahead and allow this to smoke. About 4 hours or so. What we're looking for is the internal temperature of 150 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's what I'm gonna go off of. Not so much a time, because when it's this cold outside, time is kind of relative. It could take 8 hours to get the temperature you're looking for. So we'll get this set up and then wait for our product to finish. Well, here we are. Our internal temperature hit 150 degrees Fahrenheit. And now it is time to remove these beauties from the smoker. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take them in the house and we're gonna cut them into the small pieces for the burnt ends. And now's a great time for you to set up or preheat your grill or your oven, depending on where you're going to finish them at. Well, here we are after the smoker. Really nice color, it smells fantastic. So I have my grill preheating 350 degrees Fahrenheit. And now we're gonna go ahead and slice our belly. And when we cut them, we're gonna wanna cut them into a bite-sized cube. Maybe 1/2 to 3/4 inch thick and 1/2 to 3/4 inch wide. Transfer it to a disposable pan. And now I'm going to go ahead and coat it with my Asian barbecue sauce. Now I don't go crazy on it. I only want enough just to coat it. And when we get it to the grill or the oven, depending on where you're going to finish it off at, essentially all you're looking to do is caramelize it. You already got the flavor from the several hours of smoking, plus the brine it was in, and now the sauce. This thing is flavor on flavor on flavor. So I will do this and spread it out in a single row. Try to get as much exposure to the heat as you can. And maybe a tiny little more just as a drizzle. You don't want it to dry out. You really want it to have a caramelization and perhaps a little sticky texture to it whenever the sauce adheres to the protein and caramelizes. Now we will head it off to the grill, and let's let it roast for about an hour or so until you get desired caramelization. So here we are. They crispened up a little and glazed up, caramelized. Of course, there's a excess fat that came out because it's the pork belly. So right now we're gonna take it off. We're gonna bring it in the house and we're gonna remove the fat and we're gonna glaze it a second time. So now I'm gonna remove it from the oil, the excess oil. This part, when I make the burnt ends from the belly. The part that we just completed for me, that is what I'm doing to make sure that the bacon or the pork belly is tender. So I have to put it into the oven and tenderize them. So now this is the part where we're going to caramelize, and there should be significantly less fat. So from here, I'm going to finish it in the oven. I got it on the low broil setting, and literally maybe 5 or 6 minutes on this, and that is it. And you can see how caramelized this is already, nice and sticky. Oh, these are gonna be awesome. Well, there you have my Asian burnt ends made from a pork belly. Unbelievable flavor, very rich, and the sauce is so good. The uses for this, you can eat it as is, put it on a sandwich and eat it almost like a banh mi. You can serve it over noodles with broth, or just a chilled noodle salad, serve it over rice, put it into a fried rice. It's so much better when you make your own bacon because you know where it's coming from, you control what's going into it, and you make it clean rather than some chemicals and God knows what else is put in some of these foods. So I hope you enjoyed the demonstration. I hope you give it a shot. Let me know some feedback. Thank you very much. You have it.